on a scale of 1 to 10, there's been all this talk about how the show was fake, and obviously the final episode sort of gave like a little wink and a nod to like the cameras pulling away and stuff like that. So how fake was it?
Gosh, it's hard to say because it's really a mixture. You know, some of it was real, and some of it was very guided and manipulated and kind of verbally scripted.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we would always have to keep our phones with us, filming a scene, and if we were at lunch or whatever, and they would text us and be like, ask her this.
Oh, interesting.
Or try to get this out of them.
Yeah.
So just stuff like that kind of like changes your mentality of what you would normally do because you're doing it for TV because you want it to be interesting. You need to get this out of the person.
And you were randomly cast on the show too, right? Weren't you like living in that same little complex or something?
So Whitney and I were their first LA friends, Lauren and Heidi. I was actually laying out by the pool where I lived. I had already been living in LA. I had a job. It was very like had my life going on, and I was auditioning to do acting.
Innocently sunbathing by the pool.
Yes, and the producer Adam came up and he's like, "Hey, what's your story? Like, you're a pretty girl. We're scouting this place out for Lauren. Have you ever seen Laguna Beach?" And I was like, "Actually, no, I've never seen it, but I know her name from magazines and all the gossip." So he's like, "Well, we'd love for you to come in. We love your story. You're established here. You have your friends, your night out, your job. It's so LA." And I was like, all right, reality, what?
Okay.
So I did it. I signed all the papers, and we started filming within 3 weeks, made friends with Heidi at the pool. That was kind of set up, but not really. They just said, do not go to the lobby or pool for 3 weeks until we film, because we want you guys to meet and it be organic.
Oh, okay. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, it sounds like it's sort of a mixture of real and fake.
Yeah.
So, like, the meeting for you and Heidi, like you really are meeting each other for the first time, but they set that meeting up.
It's a fine line between fake and real.
Yeah.
Because there were some things that were kind of fake and pushed for drama and hype.
Yeah.
But then there are also things that were very much, it was a real situation. And my biggest problem that I had to learn toward the end of the show was just separating my feelings.
Yeah.
Because I would kind of start caring too much, and my heart would go into it, and I had to learn how to separate the two.
Yeah.
And think of it, this is a show. Stop putting your heart into it and thinking it's real, or not that it is kind of real, but it was a fine line.
So do you have any regrets for doing the show? Do you feel glad that like it kind of helped launch your career?
I do. You know, going into it, I really had no expectations. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and it kind of became my life, my family, the crew, just everyone. You're with each other all the time. And I don't really have any regrets. If anything, if I had to go back, I wouldn't people please as much. I would say no more because I gave in a lot to all the pressure from the producers to do certain things that I normally wouldn't do or say. But that's about it. Like otherwise. And then also one of my frustrations with The Hills was I had a lot to say, and they would cut me off and look like I was just making a face and not saying anything.
Yeah.
That would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, we would have many conversations about that, but I just had to separate myself again and think of it as a show.
That's the thing. Like, you can be as much yourself as possible on camera, but at the end of the day, like, how it gets edited really sort of shapes things. So, but you always came off as, like, the nice, normal one, so that's good.
I was drama free. I hated the drama. Never had drama in high school until the show, so I had to get used to that.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're like, I'm not really a dramatic person, but the producers are like, more drama, more drama.
Yeah, so you kind of, like, learn how to do that in a weird way.